She hadn't slept in 3 days. Every night, the same terror waited for her the moment she closed her eyes. Every morning, the walk to school felt less like a routine, and more like walking straight into a nightmare. For a 7-year-old girl, fear should have been monsters under the bed or shadows on the wall. But her monsters were real. Her danger had a face. And every single day, it came a little closer. She tried to tell her mother. She tried to tell her teacher. She even tried to convince herself she was imagining it. But deep down, she knew the truth: someone was watching her. Someone who shouldn't be anywhere near a child. And no matter how fast she walked, no matter how tightly she gripped her backpack straps, she could feel him behind her, waiting. By the 3rd day, exhaustion wrapped around her tiny body like chains. Her steps were slower. Her breathing was shallow. And she realized something no child should ever have to understand. Nobody was coming to save her. Nobody believed her. Nobody saw the fear she carried alone. So she did the unthinkable. As the sun barely cracked over the horizon, she stopped in front of the most intimidating biker she had ever seen, a man the whole town avoided, a man everyone warned their kids to stay away from, and with trembling lips, she whispered the words that would change everything. "Can you walk me to school? Please. I'm scared." What he did next shocked the entire town. "Before we dive in, tell me where you're watching from, your city and country. I want to see how far this story reaches today." Her name was Nia Carter, and before all of this, she was just a normal 7-year-old girl from Brookwood Heights, a tiny neighborhood where everyone claimed to know everyone, yet somehow no one had noticed her fear. Nia loved the simplest things: drawing butterflies in the margins of her notebooks, reading stories about brave girl heroes, keeping a tiny collection of colorful stones she found on her walks home. She even dreamed of becoming a teacher one day, just like her aunt, because she believed teachers were the strongest people in the world. Her laugh was the kind that could brighten an entire room. Her joy, the type that made strangers smile. And her heart? Soft, big, and trusting, far too trusting for a world that didn't always deserve children like her. She lived alone with her mom, Danielle, a hardworking night shift cleaner at the local medical building. Danielle did everything she could for her daughter. Late nights. Early mornings. 3 buses to work. Missed meals so her daughter wouldn't miss hers. Their tiny apartment was cramped, but it was full of love, the kind you could feel the moment you stepped inside. To Nia, her mom was a superhero. To Danielle, Nia was her entire world. But 3 weeks ago, the light in Nia's eyes began to dim. Her drawings changed. Her laughter stopped. Her shoulders hunched when she walked. And when Danielle asked what was wrong, Nia always replied the same way. "I'm fine, Mommy." But she wasn't fine. Not even close. Because something had entered Nia's world. Something dark. Something dangerous. And it was getting closer every day. It started small, the kind of little moments adults dismiss without thinking. On a Monday morning, as Nia walked into school, 2 older girls blocked her classroom door. They didn't push her, not yet. They just stared, laughed, and whispered things that made her throat tighten. By Wednesday, the whispers had become shoves. By Friday, her backpack had been emptied twice, her pencils broken, her lunchbox thrown into the trash. Every time she bent down to pick up her scattered belongings, she felt their eyes on her, eyes that enjoyed watching her fall apart. None of the teachers saw it. Or maybe they didn't want to. Kids in the hallway kept their heads down. No one wanted to get involved. By the 2nd week, the bullies had gotten bolder. One girl would step on the back of Nia's shoes to make her stumble. Another would tug her braids and say, "You don't belong here." Their words didn't sound like jokes. They sounded like warnings. Nia stopped eating in the cafeteria. She hid in the library during lunch, pretending to read. She avoided walking near windows because she feared being spotted. But the worst part? She started trying to become invisible. The more the bullying escalated, the more Nia shut down. Her gentle voice grew quieter. Her smile faded completely. Her once bright drawings turned into scribbles of storm clouds and sad faces. And even though the bullying alone was horrifying, it wasn't the real danger. The real danger appeared one afternoon after school. Standing across the street, watching her. The first time Nia saw the car, she thought it was a coincidence. A dark blue sedan idling near the school gate. Windows tinted so dark she couldn't see inside. Engine rumbling like it was waiting for something. Or someone. She walked faster that day, clutching the straps of her backpack. When she turned the corner, the car turned too. When she crossed the street, so did the car. Her breath quickened. Her palms grew sweaty. The world around her seemed to shrink. The car didn't speed. It didn't honk. It didn't call out to her. It just followed. Quiet. Slow. Deliberate. Every day after that, the car returned. Different locations. Same dark tint. Same chilling presence. Sometimes, the window would roll down halfway, just enough for her to see the curve of a smile she would never forget. The kind of smile that didn't reach the eyes. The kind of smile that made her stomach twist. He never said her name. He never shouted. He never chased. That made it worse. Because predators who wait. Predators who watch. Predators who smile. Are the ones children fear the most. Danielle didn't ignore the signs. A mother knows when something is wrong. She marched into the school office, exhaustion in her eyes and fire in her voice, demanding answers, demanding protection. The principal, a man who always looked half asleep and uninterested, listened with an expression that never changed. When Danielle finished explaining, he sighed and leaned back in his chair. "Ms. Carter, kids tease each other. It's normal." Normal? Was it normal for a 7-year-old to jump at every sound? Normal for her to beg not to go to school? The counselor chimed in with a gentle smile that felt more dismissive than comforting. Nia is a sensitive child. She may be overreacting. We encourage children to be resilient. Resilient? She was being targeted, followed, harassed, and they called it resilience training. No reports were written. No follow-up scheduled. No calls made. Danielle walked out shaking with anger. Nia walked out sinking deeper into fear. The girls kept bullying. The car kept watching. And the people who were supposed to protect her looked away. When the car showed up for the 5th time, Danielle didn't hesitate. She grabbed her daughter's hand and marched straight into the police station. For once, Danielle thought someone would finally take her seriously. But after listening to her story, the officer simply folded his hands and said, "There's nothing we can do at this stage. No threat was made. No crime occurred." No crime? A grown man following a 7-year-old wasn't a crime? "We can't act unless something happens," he said. Unless something happens. Those 3 words crushed Danielle. Anger. Fear. Helplessness. A storm she couldn't contain. Nia tugged her sleeve, shaking. She knew now, no one was coming. That night, she heard her mother crying behind the thin apartment walls. And for the first time, Nia felt something inside her break. She couldn't keep waiting for someone to save her. She had to save herself. It was just past midnight when Nia woke to the sound of muffled sobs. Her mother was whispering on the phone, trying to hide her pain. "I don't know what to do anymore. No one will help us. I'm scared something's going to happen to her." Nia lay still in her bed, staring at the ceiling, her chest tightening with every word. Her mother was terrified. Her mother felt alone. Her mother couldn't protect her. And that realization shattered what little childhood she had left. Tears slipped down her cheeks as she clutched her stuffed giraffe, the only thing that still made her feel safe. Then she remembered something. A moment from weeks ago. A place she'd been with her mom. The diner. More specifically, the bikers outside the diner. Huge. Loud. Intimidating. People crossed the street to avoid them. But Nia remembered something else too. The way one of them held the door open for an elderly man. The way another helped a woman carry groceries. The way they all laughed like family. If the car was afraid of anyone, it would be them. So before dawn, with trembling hands and a heart full of terrified determination, Nia decided she would go to them. At 6:32 a.m., Nia slipped out the apartment door. The sky was still dark, that eerie blue before sunrise. The air was cold enough to sting her cheeks. Every sound felt louder than it should be. She kept glancing over her shoulder, terrified the car would appear at any second. Every passing shadow made her flinch. Every rumble in the distance made her heart leap. But she kept walking. 4 blocks. Just 4 blocks. Her legs shook. Her breath trembled. But stopping wasn't an option. She passed the empty park. The closed corner store. The dark alley she always avoided. Until finally, she turned the last corner. And there it was. The diner. Lights glowing warmly inside. Steam on the windows. And lined up beside it, 8 motorcycles. Tall. Gleaming. Powerful. Her tiny hand tightened on her backpack strap. She swallowed hard. And pushed open the door. The bell above the diner door chimed softly. Conversation stopped. Forks hovered in midair. 8 leather-clad men turned to see a trembling 7-year-old girl standing alone in the doorway. Nia's knees nearly buckled. But she forced herself forward. 1 step. Then another. Until she stood in front of the largest man she had ever seen. He had a thick gray beard, arms covered in tattoos, and eyes that looked like they'd seen more years than his face admitted. He frowned in confusion at first, then concern. "Where's your mama, little one?" Nia's lip quivered. She doesn't know I'm here." The diner went silent. The man leaned down, lowering himself until they were eye level. His voice softened in a way that didn't match his intimidating appearance. "Why'd you come here?" And the truth poured out. The bullying. The insults. The girls who pushed her. The car that followed her. The man who smiled. The fear. The nightmares. The helplessness. All of it tumbling out in broken pieces of breath. When she finished, the biker's expression changed. Not anger, something colder. Protective. Deadly serious. He stood up slowly, cracked his knuckles, and said only one thing. "You did the right thing coming here." He turned to the other bikers. "Get your phones out. Call everyone. Now." The room erupted with movement. Because once a child asks a biker for protection, there's no going back. Within minutes, the whole diner transformed into a command center. Phones rang. Messages flew. Engines revved in the distance. The gray-bearded biker, the one named Rooster, made call after call. "Child in danger. Brookwood Heights. We roll out in an hour." Another biker slammed his coffee down and said, "I'm bringing 5 more." Someone else added, "I'll bring the veterans." Word spread like wildfire. From one club to the next. From riders to veterans. From town to town. Because in the biker world, protecting a child isn't optional. It's a code. By the time the diner door swung open again, they weren't alone anymore. And they were just getting started. Danielle burst through the diner doors like a storm, her breath ragged, her hair uncombed, panic radiating from every inch of her body. She had woken to find her daughter's bed empty, and her world nearly stopped. "Nia," she cried, her voice cracking as she spotted her daughter sitting safely beside Rooster. Nia leapt into her mother's arms, sobbing, "I'm sorry, Mommy. I didn't know what else to do." Danielle held her tightly, tears soaking into her daughter's hair. "Don't you ever scare me like that again. Ever." Rooster cleared his throat gently, waiting for her to meet his eyes. "Ma'am," he said quietly, "your little girl is in danger. Real danger. And apparently, nobody's been listening." Danielle's face flushed with shame and fury. "I've tried. The school, the police. We know," Rooster said. "And that's why we're stepping in." His words carried a weight that silenced the entire diner. Danielle blinked back tears, glancing at the men who had gathered around her daughter like living walls of protection. It wasn't trust she felt, not yet. But it was relief. And in that moment, that was enough. The first rumble shook the sidewalk. Then another. Then 20 more. Danielle rushed to the window and gasped. Motorcycles lined the street, row after row, chrome glinting under the rising sun. 10 riders. 20. 30. And then, even more. By the time the full group arrived, the entire block was vibrating beneath the thunder of over 100 bikes. People emerged from their homes just to stare. Phones came out. Windows opened. Even the local news truck rolled onto the street, unsure of what they were witnessing. Rooster stood proudly at the front, leather jacket on, helmet in hand, voice firm. "Brookwood Heights has failed this little girl. So we're gonna make sure nobody ever lays a hand on her again." He lifted Nia onto his bike. Danielle hesitated, her heart pounding, until Rooster placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. "She'll be safer with us than with anyone else today." The part that shocked the entire neighborhood was what happened next. The bikers didn't surround Nia. They encircled her, front, back, both sides, a moving fortress of roaring engines and protective steel. A mobile wall no danger could break through. And as they began the slow, powerful ride toward Brookwood Heights Elementary, cars pulled over. Pedestrians stopped in awe. Even drivers waiting at red lights rolled their windows down just to watch. Nia, who had walked to school alone in fear, was now arriving with an army. The schoolyard fell silent when the first motorcycle rolled in. Teachers froze. Students gawked. The bullies, the ones who had once tormented Nia, paled instantly. Because nobody expects a 7-year-old to show up escorted by a battalion of bikers. As the engines cut off one by one, Rooster climbed from his bike and lifted Nia gently to the ground. Her hand held tightly in his, they walked toward the school entrance, past the girls who once shoved her, past the teachers who ignored her fear. Rooster didn't shout. He didn't threaten. He didn't need to. He simply crouched to Nia's level and said, loud enough for everyone to hear. "You walk in there with your head high. Nobody touches you. Nobody scares you. Nobody follows you. You are not alone anymore." The bullies looked away, suddenly fascinated by their shoelaces. Teachers straightened awkwardly, pretending they were always supportive. And Nia, for the first time in weeks, stepped forward without trembling. Because confidence is powerful. But confidence backed by 100 roaring engines? Unstoppable. Yet even as she walked inside, a pair of eyes watched from across the street. The same eyes that had followed her for weeks. And the predator felt his control slipping. The dark blue sedan idled near the corner. The man inside watched the biker escort with growing frustration twisting across his lips. He'd thought Nia was an easy target. He'd thought no one cared, no one watched, no one listened. But predators always make one fatal mistake. They underestimate who is willing to protect a child. Rooster noticed the car before anyone else. The man tried to drive off, but several bikers were already blocking the road. Engines roared like thunder, surrounding the sedan before it could flee. Rooster stepped forward, eyes cold as steel. "You've been following a little girl," he said quietly. "That ends today." The man stuttered, I didn't." "Save it," Rooster growled. Without touching him, without laying a single hand on the vehicle, the bikers did exactly what the law had failed to. They called it in. They reported everything. They provided videos, timestamps, eyewitness accounts. And this time, the police didn't shrug. This time, they arrived with urgency. This time, the man didn't get to smile. The danger that had stalked Nia for weeks was put in handcuffs. And taken away for good. The first night after that day, Nia slept for 10 straight hours. No nightmares. No jolting awake. No shadows lurking in her thoughts. Just peace. Danielle watched her daughter breathe softly, tears of relief gathering in her eyes. In the days that followed, the change was undeniable. Nia laughed again. She drew pictures of sunshine instead of storm clouds. She played at recess instead of hiding in the library. And in every drawing she made afterward, there were always motorcycles. Sometimes 2, sometimes 10. Sometimes an entire page filled with helmets and leather jackets. Her mother saved every single one. Because they weren't just drawings. They were proof that one small girl, terrified and unheard, had reached out for help. And someone finally listened. Word of the escort spread across Brookwood Heights, and beyond. Parents demanded reforms. Teachers received new training. The principal who had dismissed Danielle's concerns mysteriously retired. School drop-off protocols changed. A child safety watch program was launched. And the biker club partnered with several local organizations to keep kids safe. People no longer crossed the street to avoid the bikers. They waved. They honked. They thanked them. And slowly, a neighborhood that once ignored a little girl's fear became a place where children were finally protected. Nia stood outside the school one afternoon, holding Rooster's hand as the other bikers idled nearby. "Thank you," she whispered. "For everything." Rooster smiled gently. "You did the bravest thing a person can do, kiddo." "What's that?" she asked. "You asked for help. And maybe that's the message the world needed to hear. No child should ever feel alone. No child should walk in fear. And no child should be ignored when they say they're scared. If you believe in protecting kids, if you believe every child deserves safety, dignity, and a voice, comment, "I stand for children." Share this story so more people understand how powerful community can be. And subscribe for more real, emotional stories that remind us why we must always look out for one another.